Could you start by telling us a little bit about yourself and about what you do?
My name is Peter. I'm from Gothenburg in Sweden, and I am an audio describer working with audio description. Visual interpreter, so to say, because that is what we are doing as audio describer. I worked with it for about 30 years, and for 6 years ago, 2001, we started a non-profit organization in Sweden, Synpratning Nu, and we do a whole lot of audio description all over Sweden.
So if you've been working in this for 30 years, can you tell us more about how things have changed since when you started?
Well, in the beginning I was very alone, and after a while they came from the organizations and said, Peter, please, can you educate other people to do the audio description as you do it, so we don't have any change if you get sick or something like that. So I have educated about 200 people in Sweden, and now I think it's 3 of them that still are audio describer.
And from your perspective, what's the best thing about being an audio describer? What do you like most about it?
The most interesting and the best of it is the meeting with the people, both the audience and also the actors, to get them together. When we do the live audio descriptions on the theaters, they get behind the scenes and meet the actors before, so they can hear their voices, so you know when the actors are talking. And then when the actors are on stage, they realize that the audience on the front row doesn't look like it's used to do. They probably look at the left when they normally should look to the right, because the audio describer talks about something on the left. So therefore it's very important that both sides know what's happening and so on. That's the best thing of it. And when you get the hugs afterwards, that's very nice, because you can't get rich on it.
And what's the worst thing about being an audio describer? Do you have any particular stories you'd like to share with us?
The worst thing is that the people that we meet at the arenas and the venues and people that work on these things, they don't know what audio description is. They think it's sign language. And we said, no, this is not sign language. You don't have to stay on the stage. And have to repeat that every time is very boring. So I hope in the future that people realize what it is. Even if they can see on a movie or a TV screen, this is audio described, they think, oh, it's sign language. And it's not. That's the most boring thing about it.
You mentioned earlier that you've worked in educating people about audio description. Yeah. What do you think the best way to educate society is about this?
I asked the people first if they have any children. Because if they have been storytelling for the children, it's a way of talking to your children when you change your voices and you know when they come like this and say, oh, like that. So that they can be a part of the play. And they dare to take place, so they dare to talk in the mouth of the actors, so they can come into the arena and say, hi, I'm the audio describer tonight. I will sit somewhere and so on, and take place as an audio describer, so you don't be afraid for the people that are around you.
And I know that some audio describers think you should be very, very neutral in your delivery. I guess you don't share that approach.
You can often, you have the possibility to be a play in the play, and that's not what we are doing. We are being so neutral as possible it is. But if you have a scary movie, you can't talk with a voice like anything else. You have to realize that you have something to. This is not what you can talk a little bit slower. You can talk a bit louder also. So your voice is your tool to make the movie or the theater or the venue more interesting for the people that listen. So
would you say being an audio describer is a creative role?
It's a creative role. It's very, because when we play Texas, we do it as a culture for it. So we have a lower text when we do it. So the way to describe everything is how I see it as an audio describer. That's what I mean with a visual interpreter, because I interpretate what I see. You know?
Yeah, no. Yeah. And what do you think is the most difficult?
The most difficult?
The difficult thing to put into words when you're describing.
That's very different between. I had a movie for 10 years ago or something that I saw for the first time, and I realized that I was crying because it took me so hard. And then I saw it again, and I was crying again. And that's very difficult to do an audio description after that, because you know and that you have something. You sound different. So I had to see it for 6 or 7 times so I could be very neutral to what I saw on it. But the problem was then that the audience, when I came to this part in the movie, the audience started crying. So I heard them, and I knew that when I say this, they're going to cry even more. And I had to say it. And they cried. And afterwards they were very happy afterwards. But it's things that happen. So that could be a different, hard way to do. I have done pornographics. I've done circus. I've done rocket shows. I've done everything that you can ask for. And everything to describe is similar to each other.
Do you have a favourite genre to describe?
If I have a favourite?
Genre or type of film to describe?
No. A film to describe it can change. And you can see it several times. So in the beginning, when you see it, you can think this is an awful movie, I don't like it, but you can help it. You can help the movie to be better by doing a good description. And that happens sometimes. In Sweden, we do also foreign movies, so we have subtitles. So we have to read the subtitles also, and then we have a different voice to do that. If I, as a man, then we have a girl reading the subtitles when we do. So they can separate us.
What are the most important skills for an audio describer to have?
Don't be afraid. And what you're doing is the right thing to do. You have to believe in yourself. No one shall put a word in your mouth that you have to say. So you have to do your own manuscript and everything you are for yourself. Because if someone else does it, you can sound that you're not sure of what you are talking about if you not have done it by yourself. And then the people that listen, oh, now he doesn't know what he's talking about. So you have to be very secure in what you are doing. That's one very important skill. You have to do the language. I am not especially good audio describer in English because I had to look up for the word all the time and said, how do I pronounce it and so on. But in Swedish, I'm very good in Swedish. So these are the skills. So you don't have to go for the university, or you don't have to do like that. We have audio describing in my team that are we have audio describers in my team that are born abroad. Not the Swedish accent perfect, but they can the Swedish language very well. So they are very good audio describer to look at things, and they have not gone to the university. So there's the thing to look up where to find people. I had in the beginning, as I said, 200 people that I have educated, and only 3 are left. And that's the problem in Sweden, that there are not so many works to do, and no one is want to pay for it. So if you are an audio describer, you want to do it often, so you can be better and better and better. And if you do it once in a half year, after a while, okay, what's the point of doing it?
Mm-hmm. So you have to be a good audio describer and good at explaining why audio description is important.
Yes.
the same time?
Both of it. So we do the audio description live in the theaters and arenas, and we have our own equipment that we have with us all the time. So we send not the infrared, what you call it, the digital equipment that we use. So we can have the same equipment in a big arena and in a small theater. And if we are outside, we also have a 10-man, so on. So we can do it.
Is it very different doing live audio description compared to doing description for a film?
A film is often live, but if you have a recorded audio description for films at the cinemas or televisions and so on, the difference is that you have a manuscript and you have the pauses, and you work by seconds where you can talk, not talk, and you have to work with the movie sound, and you have to be very specific when you're doing it. And the technicians are very important, that you have good technicians that have an ear for what you're doing. When you're doing it live, you don't need a manuscript. You need a timeline so you know what's happening. You need to know who is the characters. You need to know the milieu, what is around you and so on. And if you see a special car that shows several times in you have to look up. If you don't know what it is, you have to look it up, because that car is by some reason in the pictures, in the screen, and then you have to say this is an NG or something like that. I had a special, when I did James Bond, it was very important to have the right car and where they went and what kind of gun he had and so on.
How do you decide what you need to describe and what you don't need to describe in a scene?
Oh, that's difficult. Because we say what you see is 1,000 words. When I look at, just like here in the room, it's 1,000 words on the screen, and then I have to decide what is not important. Something that now doesn't look important can be important later on in the movie. So I had to place it, but I can't do it so much. So the people that listen, what's about that tree or car or person and so on. But they are in the movie, so you have to describe them. Then you have to realize that when you do the audio description, the people that listen, you have an audience for 10, 15 people. Then you have 10 or 15 people that have different needs for what they want. So no one can be, wow, this was the best thing, and someone said, oh, this was not so good, and so on. You have to realize that the people that listen have different needs for what you are telling them. But the important is that you have to decide, this is important. I see it in the movie. It's there for a reason. I have to decide how much does it take. Even sometimes when you can't tell, I can't go back and say, oh, sometimes ago they went in the car, it's happened, so leave it. So when you do the description, it's right now what's on the screen. You can't have an explosion or people laughing in the venue, and you come before or after, and now we're going to have an explosion, or they laughed at he had a banana or something. So it's very important to know what you are talking about and realize. And also, when we do the films recorded, we also have people that listen to the audio description afterwards. So we have a blind guy, born blind, that listen to the sound from the music, from the movie, and listen to the audio description. And then he comes afterwards and I don't understand that. You had that name wrong, or it's very kind of doing the right things.
How have your interactions with blind people influenced the way that you do your audio description?
But we do a whole lot of live audio descriptions around Sweden, all over Sweden. We always meet up, talk to them an hour ahead, and sit down afterwards in the interruption. We talk with them, get the information, what they think, and so on. Therefore, we can listen to what they want and what they are interested in. So they think, oh, it's you coming back. Yeah, that's me. Oh, awful. They're often very happy to meet us again because they feel secure when we are there. They know what we are giving is a very good audio description.
And how do you see audio description changing in the future?
But when I started for 30 years ago, I think it was me and Niel Sandler up in the USA that started at the same time. And what's mostly have changed is the movies that you can record. Also the technicians, when you have, as I said, the digital equipment that we have. Earlier it was infrared or it was skipped wires between and so on. The digital equipment is fantastic to use. Movies, when you have it now, you have it on the DVD before. Now DVD is not so much in Sweden because we have audio description and reading subtitles in mobile phone instead. The best thing is that because if you are sitting together with all the other people, you can listen to your own audio description, and the people that are not interested in listening to the audio description doesn't need to. And you can have one that listens to just the reading subtitles and so on. So that is a very good thing going on. Problem is that you have to have a smartphone to do it. Everyone doesn't have. It costs money. So that is something that is going well. Even that the broadcasting companies like Swedish Television or the commercial channels are forced to have more and more accessibility. I think it's 2 or 3% this year, and it's growing.
Is there growing recognition from government?
From the government. That's also another problem that shows on the television because there's what you call it prime time on television is around 8 o'clock. Earlier the Swedish Children's Channel starts at 8 o'clock, and then you can have the prime time movies audio described in the same channel. So you have the audio description in the Children's Channel, and you have it in the Channel 1, for instance. So you can mix them, which one you use. Now they have changed the Swedish Children's Channel to 9 o'clock. Therefore, you can't have the 8 o'clock prime time at the same time. Then we have to move it out on the internet and have it on the play channel. And that's 1.5 minutes later. So you can't look at the television together with your friends and have the audio description at the same time. So you have to do it for yourself later on. That's a problem, I think, in the future.
How has the growth of services like Netflix and people watching increasing amounts of TV online affected the industry?
Netflix send audio description in Sweden in English with English channel. So there's no Swedish audio description yet. It will come. I know. But the audio description that we are doing in the mobile phone, it's made for the cinemas when you have 24 frames per second. We also do a copy for 25 frames per second. So you can use your mobile phone when that movie comes on the television or on the DVD, for instance. Then you can have it. So you can listen to James Bond Spectre and I don't want to listen to the audio description, but I want to have the reading text. So I can switch over and say I also have the reading text. So that's a way to, in the future, I think it will be better.
And we've spoken about this a bit already, but how would you say changes in technology are changing the profession today?
Earlier it was only live audio description. Now it's more recorded audio description. That's changing a whole lot of things. You have to watch things in a different way. But I think to be a good audio describer, you have to start to do the live audio description, to meet the audience, to meet the professionals, to meet the actors and so on, meet the theaters and so on. Then you can take that with you when you sit down by your computer and writing the manuscript, and then you do the reading in the studio. So that's something that is more effective now.
And the people that use the audio description have more control now over that?
They have more control in a technical way. But the problem is that you have to have a smartphone. If you don't have a smartphone, you can't get the audio description. So you have to do the live audio description. Or, as we do sometimes, that we connect our own smartphone to our equipment, so they can listen through our equipment to the recorded audio description. That's a way to solve it. So before you were very alone when you do the audio description. Now you have a team around you. You have technicians, you have people that listen to what you have written, how you say it, and so on. So it's more the teamwork now than it was before.
And finally, what's the one thing people don't know about audio description that you wish they did?
That is audio description. But it is, and it's not sign language. That's the most important thing to know. And they also have to know what is good for people, visually impaired and blind people. But it's also very important for people born abroad that can't speak the language, because they are listening to the audio description to get more information on what they are looking at. And the dyslexic, I think it's the name.
Dyslexic, yeah.
Yeah, listen to the subtitles when we are reading it. So the people that we work with don't know it exists. That's the problem. So I hope know that audio description is good for not only the blind and visually impaired people, and there is audio reading subtitles for other people. And that's very important for everyone to know.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.